Mr. Adelson, before you testify this afternoon, I just wanted to make sure the court's prior ruling on this matter you understood and you were clear on. When you're testifying, you are not to testify about any opinions that you have concerning whether your family members or your mother may have committed a crime. Do you understand this?
Yes.
Does the defense or state wish for there to be any further instruction from the court that does not otherwise cover the substance of the ruling?
No, sir. No, sir.
Please, when you're yours. Yep. Mr. Adelson remains standing. Everyone else can be seated. Please raise your right hand to be sworn. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be the truth?
I swear.
You may take your seat. Please speak loudly and clearly. You can adjust the microphone as need be. Ms. Dugan, you may examine.
Thank you. Could you tell us your name and spell your name for our court reporter, please?
Sure. Robert Todd Adelson, Adelson.
Thank you. And what state do you currently live in?
New York.
And how long have you lived in New York?
13 years.
Okay, so since maybe 2012?
Yes.
All right. What do you do for a living in New York?
I'm an ENT.
Okay, so ear, nose, and throat doctor?
Yes.
And how long have you worked as an ENT?
20 years.
How do you know the defendant in this case, Donna Adelson?
She's my mother.
And Harvey Adelson's your dad?
Yes.
Wendy and Charlie Adelson are your siblings?
Yes.
Okay. And where did you grow up?
In Coral Springs, Florida.
Is that a bit north of Miami?
Yep.
About how long of a drive?
About an hour north of Miami.
Okay. When y'all were growing up, did you all, the five of you, live in the same house as a family?
Yes.
And who's the oldest child?
I am.
Okay. Who's the middle child?
Charlie.
How many years between you and Charlie?
3 years between Charlie and I.
And then who's the youngest then is Wendy?
Yes.
And how many years between Charlie and Wendy?
3 years.
Okay. When you were 18, did you move out of the Coral Springs house?
Yes, when I went to college.
Okay. And did you go to college at University of Florida?
I went to Tulane.
Oh, thank you. Okay. Did you live in Gainesville at some point?
I did, yes.
Okay, thank you. So after you went to college at Tulane and then went on to med school, went on to residency, throughout those years, did you continue to talk to your parents and your siblings on a regular basis?
Yes.
And would you see them a couple of times a year?
Yes.
When you were in school, would you go home for the summer?
Yes.
Based on your personal observations throughout your life of your parents and of your siblings, who is the leader in the family? Who tends to run the show?
I think my mom.
Okay, so Donna Adelson?
Yes.
Would you describe Donna Adelson's personality as being more controlling or more laid back?
I think more on the controlling side.
What about, is she kind of a more assertive person or a more passive person?
More assertive.
What about your dad, Harvey Adelson? What's his personality like?
I think he's more passive, more go with the flow.
Okay. So they're kind of opposites in that way a bit?
Yeah.
When you and your siblings were growing up, was Donna Adelson a very involved parent?
Yes.
And when I say involved, as far as with your life and with your friends and with school and with that type of thing?
Absolutely.
Did she have certain fixed ideas throughout your life of certain things she wanted to happen in you and your siblings' life?
Yes, absolutely.
Was it acceptable if you decided to not do those certain things that she was fixated she wanted you to do? Was that acceptable to her or no?
No. I think she had certain sort of rigid, fixed ideas or impressions for what she wanted for us, and if you went along with that, things were fine. If you didn't, things were not fine.
Did she have strong opinions about who you all married and what you all did for a living and those types of things?
Yes.
And you're obviously a doctor. Was that an acceptable profession to her?
Yeah, that was okay.
Okay. And was that one of the reasons you became a doctor?
Yes.
Okay. How involved was Donna in yours, Charlie, and Wendy Adelson's life after you grew up, became adults, and had kids of your own?
I think still involved.
Was she more involved with your life, Charlie's life, or Wendy's life, would you say?
Probably more involved with Wendy and probably to a lesser degree with Charlie.
Okay. And then would you be she's the least involved with your life out of the three?
Yeah, probably because I was older and sure, I agree.
Okay, so you're the oldest child. You're out of the house before the other two?
Yep.
Okay, and then you also lived other places after you went to college throughout the rest of your life?
Yes.
Now, was this like a healthy level of involvement that she had with the three of your lives, or was it more of like a micromanaging as you saw it?
I think it was certainly between over-involved and controlling. It probably lended itself more toward controlling, but there's in various realms, more or less. But I think certainly that was a tension.
Okay, so a little more on the controlling side.
Yes.
And does that include your personal lives as far as your relationships and in your professions, your jobs?
Yes.
Was it Charlie who always needed more attention than the other two children?
I think so, yes.
When did Wendy's life start becoming one that she needed to pay or give more attention to?
I think when she had some troubles in her marriage, I wasn't aware there were any troubles in her marriage until Wendy left. But I think around that time when she had two young children, I think that was when she became more involved. And I was, at that point living, pretty good distance away.
Okay. Were you living in Philadelphia at the time?
Yeah, but first in Philly and then in New York where we live now.
Okay. And so Charlie always got a lot of attention, and then Donna also started giving her attention also to Wendy's life once Wendy starts going through the separation or divorce.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. From your interactions with Donna Adelson through your whole life growing up and even as an adult, would you describe her as someone who's mentally sharp, thinking about things from all angles, or is she someone who's a little more gullible? Yes, sir.
Objection is sustained. You may continue with your examination.
Were Charlie and Donna Adelson dependent on each other or pretty independent from each other?
I would say Charlie was probably somewhat dependent on my mom to help him out with organizing stuff, his dental practice. I think he probably relied on her a lot.
Okay. And you mentioned the dental practice. When you were growing up, who owned the dental practice?
My dad.
Okay. And throughout your life, was Donna Adelson in charge of the money at Adelson Institute?
I always, I wouldn't know the inside workings of it, but I always remember my mom signing the checks and writing the checkbook at the table, when I was back in middle school or high school. So.
Okay. So even back then, she would do some bookkeeping or payroll type things at home.
That's my memory of it.
Okay. And then, did the dental practice? You said it obviously started out at Harvey's. Do you remember a time when Charlie Adelson took over?
I remember my dad making a joke about him having a very understanding boss because Charlie was now his boss. So.
Do not testify to what others have stated out of court. You may testify as to your knowledge, but not what someone else specifically said. The objection is sustained. You may continue.
I understand you were telling us how you remember that, but can you just tell us around what year do you remember that happening?
Around 2012, Charlie purchased the practice.
Okay, and then was there a time that you remember Charlie somehow selling it back to Harvey Adelson as then becoming the head of the practice again?
Permit you to answer the question if you have knowledge of this matter.
My memory of that was sometime in fall to winter of 2015 to 16, somewhere right around there. That's my memory.
Okay, so fall to winter of 2015.
Turning into 2016. That's my memory.
Okay. Now, you mentioned Donna Adelson doing payroll at Adelson Institute throughout your life. If someone were to ask Donna Adelson, or if someone asked Donna Adelson to do something, is she the type of person that just snaps to it, or does she have some questions first?
Overall, this does not go to motion. You may answer the question.
No, I don't think she would just snap to and do what someone told her to.
Okay. Is she the type of person who's going to have some questions if you ask her to do
Yes,
something?
I think she would definitely have some questions.
Okay. How did Donna Adelson feel about Dan Markel when he and Wendy first got together and were headed towards marriage?
He was very positive about him.
Okay, so he was somebody she approved of.
Yes.
All right, and how did that change as Wendy and Danny's relationship soured? They ended up moving towards divorce.
So I really only heard anything bad about Danny after Wendy moved out. I didn't hear anything bad about him prior to that date.
Okay, so just kind of went from everything's fine to then hearing bad things about him.
Yes.
And when you say hearing bad things about him, like from her? From Donna Adelson, I'm
yes.
sorry? Okay. And how did Donna Adelson feel about Dan Markel in 2014?
I mean, she hated him.
And would this come from, your knowledge of that come from things that she would say to you?
Yes. I mean, yeah.
Did you observe that Wendy played a bit of a damsel in distress, in your opinion, in their divorce?
Yes, I think that's a good way to describe it.
Did Donna Adelson ever talk to you about Wendy Adelson and Dan Markel's divorce?
I apologize. Did Donna Adelson? I apologize. Can I hear the question again?
Did Donna Adelson ever talk to you about Wendy and Dan Markel's divorce?
Some. I mean, the phrase that sticks in my head is that Danny was depoing Wendy to death. I wasn't involved with, all the various motions. I remember that phrase. I remember there being a lot of, court motions back and forth. But I remember that phrase. I remember, some complaints about, like, very long either mediation or depositions that Wendy had to endure.
Okay, so this is Donna saying Wendy's having to go through these things.
Yes.
Okay, and just telling you about it.
Yes.
How did Donna tell you that, or did she tell you that how Wendy was planning to leave Dan Markel and give him the news that she was leaving the marriage?
I think you're going to need to rephrase this in such a way the witness can answer, Ms. Dugan.
How did Donna Adelson describe to you how Wendy Adelson left the marriage?
Hearsay?
Ms. Dugan, please approach.
Okay.
You may continue with your examination.
What did Donna Adelson tell you about the plan for Wendy Adelson to leave the marriage?
Sure. When she told me that that she had been in Tallahassee for several months.
This is Donna Adelson had
Yes.
been?
That she had been in Tallahassee for several months, renting a new place for Wendy, arranging for movers, moving money around, and getting things set up. I only knew this after Wendy had moved out. But she was relating to me what had occurred over the summer. And so I heard this all at once, but, probably 5-6 days after Wendy had moved out. And then told me that somewhat gleefully or, pleased that they timed the phone call to Danny right before he was supposed to give a speech at the meeting he was at.
Okay. So a couple questions about that. You said Donna said that she had been up here in Tallahassee moving money around and getting things ready for Wendy. Do you mean for when Wendy moved out and needed a place of her own?
Yes.
Okay. And what did Donna tell you that she did to try to, hide the fact that they were renting a place for Wendy?
I remember her saying she had used her maiden name so there wouldn't be an Adelson up here renting, or hiring movers or such.
Just so, like, word of mouth wouldn't get around that Wendy Adelson was renting an apartment, something like that.
Sure.
Okay. So they used Donna's maiden name.
Yes.
Donna did. And then you said that their plan was for Wendy to call Dan Markel as he was getting on stage, or right before he got on stage, to give a speech at a conference.
That's what I was told.
Okay. And what was Donna's demeanor when she was describing this plan to you about how she was able to set up this place for Wendy to live in, everything was ready for her, and then this is how she gave Dan the news?
I think she sounded.
Donna's the one that gave the news? If not, then we
I believe the question was, what was her demeanor? You may
Yes, sir.
answer the question.
She sounded pleased to me.
Did you ever see Donna Adelson doing anything to help Wendy Adelson with the divorce?
I think she was, answering a lot of emails and looking over, emails that went back and forth, looking over motions and such.
Did you personally see that when she was visiting you? Did you see Donna Adelson doing those things?
Yes.
Okay. Was there an occasion when you all were in the hospital and Donna came to visit and was doing those things in the hospital?
I think it was at our home at the time, right before we went to the hospital. But yes, that's where we, saw the email.
Okay. And while she was at your house during that time, was that when you were living in Philadelphia?
That was in Albany.
Albany, okay. Did she want the Wi-Fi at that time so that she could get on the internet and work on these filings?
Yeah, she said she had things to do to help out with the divorce.
What date would that have been? Do you remember?
October of 12.
Did Donna Adelson tell you that Wendy Adelson was trying to get permission to relocate to Miami?
Yes.
And did Donna Adelson tell you about the $1 million bribe she wanted to offer Dan Markel?
Yes.
During the year or two after Wendy Adelson left Dan Markel, how much time was Donna Adelson spending in Tallahassee?
From
You may answer as to your personal knowledge on the subject matter.
I can rephrase, Judge. Did Donna Adelson tell you information about how much time she was having to spend in Tallahassee?
She said that Wendy needed a lot of help because now she has 2 boys on her own, and so she was up there a lot. And I think yes.
Okay. Who cared more about Wendy Adelson's divorce from your conversations? Was it Donna or Charlie?
Donna.
What types of things does Charlie care about? What are kinds of things is he really into?
Like go-karts, jet skis, going out, boats, not Wendy's divorce.
Okay. And is Donna Adelson very into her kids and grandkids and
Yes.
their success?
Yes.
Do you think Wendy's divorce or her moving, do you think Wendy and her boys moving to Miami was particularly important to Charlie Adelson from your observations?
I don't think so.
During the divorce, from your conversations with Donna, was she fixated on Wendy taking this job with a guy named Gary Cohen in Miami?
Yes, that was a common discussion point.
Okay. Did she seem like it was just something that she kind of thought would be a good idea, or something that she seemed to have a real obsession with?
It came up a lot in my discussions with her about this job with Gary, where she'd be making $1 million a year and she'd be a partner, and it was something that was brought up a lot, that she'd be able to take care of her kids in a way that she couldn't up in Tallahassee, and then it was probably the one thing that she mentioned to me. The only time I heard any anger after the murder had occurred was that I asked, is Wendy going to go work for Gary now? And she told me that.
Did the job end up not working out?
As far as I know, it didn't.
Okay, and that you heard some anger from Donna when that happened?
She said that his partners wouldn't let them hire her until they.
Okay.
Sorry.
But there was some anger there because the job didn't end up working out.
Yes.
They couldn't hire Wendy, or didn't want to hire Wendy after all.
That's what I was told.
Okay, thank you. Now, during the summer of 2014, did Wendy Adelson, I'm going to move on to 2014 now, did Wendy Adelson send you a text where she referenced having a boyfriend?
Yes.
And was this before Dan Markel's murder?
Yes.
Why was that memorable to you?
It was just unusual. Wendy, never was someone who would, share her, romantic life, her boyfriends, or, tell me or text me about anyone she was dating. So it just stood out as unique or different.
Okay. What did she? Was there something in particular that she said that struck you? Okay. I guess was it your impression that your parents knew about this boyfriend at the time or no?
No. The text said, "Don't tell the parents."
Well,
Sustained. Members of the jury, you are to disregard the last response of the witness.
may I approach, Judge?
You may. You may continue your examination, Ms. Dugan.
Okay, so I was asking you about this text that you received from Wendy Adelson. Can you tell me about this text?
Sure. She texted me that she was going to Gainesville for the weekend, and this was 2014. So I last lived in Gainesville about 3 years prior to that. I mentioned that she wanted that. I mentioned the name of Jeff. I asked who was Jeff. The response was my boyfriend. I responded I didn't know, and she said you wouldn't. I didn't hear it from the parents. She says they don't know. And so it just struck me as, and then she sent me some pictures of Jeff with her and the boys. It struck me as unique because she'd never shared the name or photograph of a boyfriend before.
Okay, so
Before you continue, Ms. Dugan, members of the jury, as to the last question and response, you are not to consider the hearsay statement for the truth of the matter asserted. You may continue.
okay, so it was unusual for her to talk to you about boyfriends at all.
Yes.
But you also felt it was unusual that she's telling you about this boyfriend when even your parents don't know about him yet.
Right.
And she was closer to her parents at the time than you.
Correct.
Okay, what date was that text message sent?
The very end of June, like 26 or 28 of 14, that last weekend.
Okay, so it was prior to 4th of July weekend.
Yes.
Okay. And do you remember where in those photographs Wendy is with her sons and Jeff?
Like Wakulla Springs, something like that.
Okay.
And they were in front of a board that said that.
And did you let her know you wouldn't mention him to her parents or to your parents?
Yes.
Did that strike you as so unusual that after Dan Markel was murdered, you felt, I guess, compelled to tell police, like, hey, I heard she has this boyfriend she hasn't told anybody about named Jeff?
Yes, I did. The FBI came to my house and I spoke to them once, and either it didn't come up or, it's a bit nerve-wracking talking to the FBI, and that they didn't ask any questions about that. And then, I guess over the ensuing week, I'd heard about like this Prius and this unsolved murder. And I remembered, it struck me as odd that I was sent these photographs of a boyfriend and not to tell the parents about him. And so that's when I wanted to have a clean conscience. So I reached out to the FBI and I said, I don't know if this matters, but I figured I would, tell you about this. And they came back for a second interview and looked at the pictures.
Okay. When is your father, Harvey Adelson's birthday?
July 5.
Okay, so on July 5th of 2014, how old would he have turned that year?
70.
Okay, and this is about 2 to 3 weeks before Dan Markel was killed?
Yes.
Did your family do anything to celebrate his birthday that year?
Yes, we had a party at their condo.
Okay, was there a gift from the family or from any of you to him?
No. I remember an email, and my dad is not someone who wants gifts or a big deal made about him, and so the email was something like, your dad doesn't want gifts; he just wants all of his kids to be with him on his birthday.
And was that from Donna Adelson?
Yes.
So she's basically letting know you and your kids coming is going to be his gift.
Correct.
And everybody, all the kids and grandkids being
Correct.
there. Okay. Did the family ever discuss going on a cruise?
No, not with me.
When a birthday gift is given for somebody in the family, does Donna Adelson typically say, we're going to get him this, everybody owes this much, everybody's going to pay a third, or whatever it is?
Yeah, if there was like a big gift we're getting, or they said, we're getting this for someone, and you can be part of it, that was not uncommon.
Okay, so tell us at the party, about the party, you said it was at the Continuum?
Yes, at their apartment.
Okay, so is that like a condo building in Miami?
Yeah, on Miami Beach.
Okay, on Miami Beach, like South Beach?
Yeah.
Okay. And is it a secure building?
It was very secure. It was, we were staying at a hotel down the street, and there was armed guards, and it was apparently there's a lot of celebrities that live there. It was a very high, very secure building.
Okay. And these celebrities that live there, were they people that you knew of? I mean, you knew who they were?
Sure. A-Rod.
Did these people have kind of guards of their own too in the building?
I don't know.
Oh, okay. So the guards that you saw were the guards in the front?
Yes.
All right. Had your parents, how recently had they moved to the Continuum?
I got the idea, it was certainly less than a year. Like, I don't remember exactly, but seemed like they said they were going to try living down in South Beach to see if they liked it for their retirement. And so it had to be sometime, before, because they were pretty well moved in there. But I don't remember the exact time, but if I'm guessing, like maybe 6 months before or something like that.
Okay, so by the weekend of the party, July 5th, are they like fully moved into their
Yeah.
condo there?
Yes.
Okay, and are they living there full time? From what you know?
It seemed like that, but I couldn't. I know they still own the house in Coral Springs, so I don't know if they're just there on the weekends, but I couldn't say definitively, but it looked like they were living there fully.
Okay. Was his party on his actual birthday or another day of the week?
No, on his actual birthday.
All right, was your brother Charlie there that weekend?
Yes.
Wendy and her sons, were they there?
Yes.
Was the party catered?
Yeah, there was. Yes.
What type of food did you have?
There were like past hors d'oeuvres, and then there was a paella chef on the balcony.
Okay. Was the party a surprise for Harvey?
No.
So you were never told, don't tell him about it, it's a surprise,
No.
anything like that, don't tell him. Were you not supposed to tell him anything about the party that was a surprise?
No, there was nothing about a surprise birthday.
Was there ever a time in the weeks leading up to the party that you heard that the party may be canceled for any reason?
No. Never.
All right, so how did you first hear about Dan Markel's murder?
I heard the day after the shooting occurred, so that would be Saturday, July 19. I was at a meeting in Chicago, and I think I got a phone call first, and that I was in a meeting, and so I just said, can I call you later? And then I got a text message shortly thereafter, like right before 10 in the morning, that said, like, tragedy here, please call.
And are these from Donna Adelson?
Yes.
Okay. So were you able to call her that morning from the conference in Chicago?
Yeah, so I walked out and went to the hotel lobby and just hit call.
Okay, and tell us about that conversation with her.
So it's one of those moments that you'll just remember forever. So I remember being in the lobby of the Westin, and I assumed something terrible had happened, and but I wasn't ready for it. She said, so we just want to let you know that Danny's been shot, and they took him to the hospital, but he didn't make it. And it didn't make any sense. And I probably asked like a few medical questions, and they said they're driving up to go help Wendy, and we'll talk to you later. We can't talk now.
Okay. Was she crying in that conversation?
Not in
Donna
the
Adelson?
conversation.
Sir?
No, she was not.
Okay.
It was very matter of fact.
Did she ever give you any further detail that weekend about how he'd been shot, or other than just Danny was shot and he didn't make it?
I think it was the next day. So the only really other time that I spoke with him that weekend, I was in the airport going home, like Sunday afternoon. So it was definitely the next day, and it was the first time I could actually have any kind of conversation. And one of the things that she told me is it bothered me, but I didn't have any other details about. But she said that someone went to the front door and said, "Are you Dan Markel?" and then shot him. And then I said, "Well, how could you know that? Who's telling you that?" And she said, "Well, that's just what they're telling us." And
Okay. So she said someone told her that someone knocked on Danny's door, said, "Are you Dan Markel?" He said yes, and the shooter shot him.
That's the story I heard. And later we found out that wasn't what happened. But that story bothered me a lot, because there's only one way you could hear that story.
Was she crying when she told you that information?
No.
You mentioned earlier that law enforcement contacted you after Dan Markel's murder. Did they contact you to try to see if you knew any information?
Yeah, they came to our house. I was already at work, and so they talked to my wife. It had to be a Wednesday or Thursday, so I was already at work.
And is this your house in New York?
Yes.
Okay. And did you end up talking to law enforcement and letting them, answering their questions, letting them know what you knew?
Yeah, they came to my office the next day, and we with 2 agents, and we had we had an interview.
Okay. After that conversation with, you said it was the FBI earlier, right?
Yes.
Okay. After that conversation with the FBI, did Donna Adelson ever say anything to you about having talked to law enforcement or the FBI?
It was either that afternoon or the next day, but and she had called me and said, just want to let you know, if the police come around, don't talk to them.
Okay, so she told you not to talk to law enforcement.
Correct.
Did you let her know that you already had talked to law
Yeah,
enforcement?
I said I already did.
What did she say to that?
She said, "Oh, well, you don't know anything anyway."
You don't know anything anyway?
Correct.
Was that an unusual statement coming from your mother?
Yeah, everything that week was unusual, but I clearly didn't know anything, but I wasn't going to not talk to the FBI if they show up at my house.
How did you respond? Let me ask you this. After the murder of Dan Markel, did Donna Adelson seem curious about who killed Dan Markel?
No.
Was there a complete lack of curiosity?
Yeah, nobody seemed curious.
Did you actually ever ask her, like after the murder, like, hey, like, what do you think happened? What do you?
Yeah, and the conversations were kind of rerouted, or that was certainly discouraged, and it was probably like maybe sometime like mid-August, when I finally had a chance to ask and say, what is going on? This was not a small event. This was getting a lot of notoriety, and I said, what do you guys think happened? And she had said, I don't know and I don't care. It doesn't concern me.
Was that out of character for her to not be curious and not be asking some questions?
Yeah, it was an unsolved murder of, my former brother-in-law, like someone that we all know very well. If it was like some neighborhood gossip, people would be interested. This was like national interest, and nobody had any curiosity about, who did this to Danny.
Is a person, you mentioned that, not only is it your brother-in-law, but it was like national news at that point as well.
Yes.
And regardless of it being national news or not, is a person dying from gun violence an extremely unusual thing to happen in your family?
Yeah, to this day, Danny's the only person that I know who's died from gun violence or been a victim of gun violence, so it's unique in that manner.
What would your mom, Donna Adelson, do if you did try to ask her any more about Danny's murder after that?
It wasn't a subject for discussion. It would be rerouted, or it was just not a subject to discuss.
When you say rerouted, do you mean like changing the subject?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Fast forward to 2016. Do you remember in May of 2016 when Sigfredo Garcia and Luis Rivera were arrested?
Yeah, I do. I saw it in the OR lounge. Someone told me about it. It had to be like a Wednesday, and
you were in the operating room lounge.
It was
and someone told you about it.
Yeah, it was someone else, because stories like this people see on Twitter or such, and I remember someone telling me like, hey, did you hear about that case? Because it's more than one person had followed it, and I saw it, and then. That was on the 26th, and I remember the dates because our anniversary is on the 28th of May. My wife and I were like, hey, should we call them? Like they arrested some guy who killed Danny. And
when you say then, you mean like should we call my parents? And
yes.
Yeah, okay. So it was big news that even people you work with were seeing that there were finally some arrests made.
Right.
Okay. And that was 2 days before your anniversary, you said?
Yes.
Okay, so did you and your wife eventually talk to your parents?
We did, like, we thought, like, should we call them? And we figured, you know, that if they wanted to call us, they would call us, and then they didn't. And so we figured, well, they'll call us on our anniversary, and so, you know, we can just sit tight. And I'm sure it's, you know, pretty stressful. And, you know, this guy was arrested in Miami. And so they called us on our anniversary, which was the 28th.
Okay, so that was 2 days after the arrest, I think.
2 days after I found out, yes.
2 days after you found out. Thank you. So on the 28th, did you talk to Donna Adelson?
Yes.
All right. And when she called you, was she telling you the good news that Danny's killers were arrested?
No, just called us for anniversary, you know, and you know, wished us well, and had some small talk for a bit. You know, I kind of let it go for a little bit. And I mean, this was not small news. And so I finally broached the topic and said, you know, they found the guy, they arrested someone who killed Danny. You know, there's no response. And you know, I said it, you know, at least 2 or 3 times that, you know, they arrested, they made an arrest. They got the guy who killed Danny. Yeah, and then her response was, you know, I've got to go.
And then did she hang up the phone after that?
Yes.
And did you ever talk to her about it again, ever after that?
No.
Just a second. Other than, you know, her reaching out for happy birthdays, happy anniversaries, that kind of thing, was that the last conversation you had with her?
That was the last time I spoke to her.
Okay, that's all. Thank you.
Cross-examination.
Say it again, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Between 2012 and 2014, how many times did you come to visit your family in South Florida?
2012 and 2014. You know, my daughter was born in October of 2012, and so I think my dad's birthday is, I don't know, there was a Thanksgiving, I think, in 2013. So I mean, pretty much Thanksgivings were the times when we would travel, having a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old. So.
Sure. Okay, so Thanksgiving of 2013, and then your dad's birthday in 2014.
Yeah, there could have been one other one, but I remember those 2 for certain that I could swear to.
Okay, and when you came for his birthday was on the 5th. You came in on the 4th, the party was on the 5th, and you left on the 6th, correct?
That's my memory of it.
And Thanksgiving, kind of the same thing? I mean, you got a job you got to get back to, right?
Yeah, yep.
And how frequent were the phone calls that you were having with your family?
You know, probably less than once a week, maybe every other week, something like that.
And when I say family, I think I'm referring to Donna.
Sure.
Okay. Now, you were here on the 5th for your dad's birthday. You said you went home on the 6th.
Yep.
And Danny Markel was brutally murdered on July the 18th of 2014. That was in the summer.
Correct.
Recall that?
Yes.
And when did you arrive in Florida to be with your family?
I didn't.
Thank you. You had mentioned in your direct testimony that your mom called and said you shouldn't talk to the police. Do you recall that?
Yeah, I do, yes.
What actually happened was a family friend, Michael Weinstein, you know him, correct?
I do, yeah.
Your mom indicated that he had called and advised that as a family friend and an attorney that you all should not talk to the police. That's what she told you, isn't it?
Yeah.
Thank you. I don't have anything further.
Redirect examination. You may step down.